the warrior of Atlantis, the king of the seas and idol of the children. A true colossus of wrestling who carries a name that has transcended all sporting and social levels. Atlantis has positioned himself as a true living legend of wrestling with more than 40 years of career, in which he has reaped great triumphs in betting fights. Fans of this sport recognize him as a great uncoverer of legends. Masks that have become his trophies such as Tierra Viento y Fuego, Rey Pirata, The Animals, along with Lismark, El Padrino and El Boricua. But in this video we will list the most important ones. Flacol Presents. Top 7 masks won by Atlantis. Number 7. Ombre Bala. A prodigious gladiator and worthy representative of an era belonging to one of the most prolific wrestling dynasties. The extraordinary aesthete known as Chamaco Ortiz achieved fame and stardom under the character and mask of Ombre Bala. Captivating the public from the beginning with his elegant style and honoring his name, Ombre Bala became a frequent figure on the cards of the Mexican wrestling company, known today as CMLL. This brilliant wrestler knew how to win the favor of the fans by militating on the technical side, offering a great display of showy moves and spectacular evolutions. But it was also on the Rudo side where he knew how to squander quality and build a large fan base at that stage of his career. Being one of the biggest names in the serious and stable, the clash against one of the rising stars and public favorites was imminent and inevitable. After a rivalry in which Atlantis and Ombre Bala gave it their all, without giving or asking for quarter until it became personal, the two heroes of the Arena Mexico decided to bet their masks on December 5th, 1986. The legendary Cathedral of World Wrestling was packed, hosting thousands of spectators who cheered their favorite and booed their respective idol's opponent, in a match full of holds, moves, technique and rudeness, but above all a lot of grit. After 3 exciting falls, the King of Atlantis claimed a very important victim that would catapult his name and figure to unsuspected heights. And it was in the same way that the fans got to know the face of Aurelio Ortiz, brother of the Verdugo and Pirata Morgan. Number 6. Talisman. One of the most spectacular wrestlers and well remembered for his beautiful attire and fine appearance, Talisman was a gladiator who marked an era in Mexican wrestling and was always a symbol of the emerging style of risky wrestling that was practiced in the serious and stable company in the early 80s. With a well-remembered combination of yellow and violet colors, with an enviable appearance in the ring, Talisman had a great record of masks won such as Legendario, El Mago, La Momia del Terror, and Tiburon. He also won important hair versus hair matches facing wrestlers such as La Fiera, Hiroki Sito, Irazu, and Toro. After an exceptional campaign in the Arena Mexico, alternating with the greatest stars of his era and resonating in the media and the voice of the respectable crowd as one of the most important names in the national wrestling scene, the Talisman aimed directly at his new target in a betting match, the young idol Atlantis. This rivalry is well remembered by the fans because it was not possible to know with certainty who would be the favorite, since both contenders enjoyed great affection from the fans and their styles were very similar. After several clashes of power to power where both opponents left body and soul on the ring, the mask versus mask fight was agreed on the night of September 21st, 1984. The fans filled the majestic Coliseum of the Colonia Doctors to witness a historic event in the sports show. The result was a demonstration of filigree and fierce actions that kept those present on the edge of their seats, full of false endings and heart-stopping moments that made the fans roar. After 3 magnificent falls, the King of Atlantis rose triumphant, taking home one of the most beautiful masks in the history of this sport, thus revealing the face of Arturo Beristain, one of the greatest wrestling masters to have ever walked this planet. Number 5. La Sombra. Known initially as Brillante Jr. in honor of his father, a member of an important and vast wrestling dynasty known as La Familia Moro, La Sombra made his debut at a very early age in his birth town Gomez Palacio, Durango at the age of 14 on October 18, 2003. Due to his great skills in the ring, he became part of the CMLL 4 years later. From 2007 onwards, he was quickly propelled to stardom and became one of the idols of the Arena Mexico, both as a heel and as a technician. Bearer of an impressive and very complete arsenal, rarely seen in a wrestler, he gradually made his way and established himself as a relentless executioner of masks. In his showcase, he has legendary masks such as El Felino, El Olympico, and Volator Jr. on a great streak, and with an unstoppable list of triumphs. La Sombra set his sights on what would be his most precious trophy, the mask of the idol of the children Atlantis. The youngster saw in the mask of the King of Atlantis his springboard to the Golden Book of Wrestling and aimed all his batteries to achieve this goal. The expected generational clash of idols took place on September 18, 2015 in the Mexico Cathedral, seeing the venue completely full to the brim and leaving even the most demanding fans satisfied. After a long give and take of power punishments and fierce fighting, Atlantis made La Sombra surrender with his famous move La Atlantida, cutting in this way La Sombra's winning streak and revealing the face of Manuel Andrade Oropesa. Number 4. Kung Fu. One of the first wrestlers to gain notoriety by presenting a hybrid style that perfectly combined martial arts with wrestling, Kung Fu is unquestionably a reference in this field, and it is precisely this amalgamation of different styles that catapulted him to stardom. The lethal martial artist was born on January 20, 1951 in Baja California, and made his wrestling debut in 1968 using the name Rey Acosta. Later he masked himself with the battle name of El Estudiante and lost his mask against Villano III. Sometime later, Rey would adopt the mask and personality that would launch him to the highest levels of wrestling. Wearing a black suit and a two-tone mask in which orange and black predominated with two yin-yang on the ears, Kung Fu was born. His debut in 1975 was spectacular because he was paired with the greatest gladiator who ever walked the earth, Santo El Enmascarado de Plata, facing two true legends of this sport, Angel Blanco and Rey Mendoza. Without a doubt, one of his most important stages was when he formed the trio of Los Fantasticos, with Blackman and Kato Kung Lee. With the latter, he would later have a great rivalry that is still remembered by the fans. The beginning of the end was when, by passing to the Rudo side, Kung Fu would come face-to-face with Atlantis, and after cornering each other they launched the challenge of bets. The inevitable mask versus mask fight took place in the Arena Mexico on October 26, 1990. The fans of both wrestlers packed the Arena Mexico, witnessing an unforgettable fight in which, despite a visible advantage of Kung Fu, he could not get out of the famous move La Atlantida of the children's idol, revealing in this way the face of Raimundo Cuesta Velas, giving way to a darker and unforgettable Rudo fighter, but that is another story. Number 3. Mano Negra. Known by fans of the sport by his nickname, the man with the black glove, with a fine fighting style and a highly refined technique, Mano Negra quickly stood out in a competitive wrestling world at a very early age. Born on January 15, 1951 in Torreon, Coahuila, he began his training in his teens, and very curiously, and despite belonging to a wrestling family, Mano Negra declined to use his father's battle name, El Rebelde. Instead, he adopted the nickname that all fans know and chose to use that beautiful black mask with blue details that, according to the story, was originally intended and designed for male mascaras. His betting record included a good number of masks won, such as Demonio Blanco, El Cobard II, The Invader, and Asesino Blanco. This winning streak would be abruptly interrupted when he entered the Mexican wrestling company, with star status and a lot of experience. That was why he set his sights on a prized prize, the white and blue mask of the King of Atlantis, and thus began a rivalry that would reach the maximum consequences. The rivalry had no other end except the mask against mask fight, and this took place in the Arena Mexico on October 1, 1993. Mano Negra was emerging as the big favorite, and Atlantis faced his biggest rival up to that moment. After two close and long falls full of technique, grit, and rudeness, Mano Negra could not escape Atlantis' final move, the legendary and emblematic Atlantida, thus revealing the face of the young veteran Jesus Reza. Number 2. Ultimo Guerrero. The belligerent and overwhelming wrestler, the last of his lineage, the warrior of another level. A worthy representative of the pure and fine CMLL wrestling, El Ultimo Guerrero. A reference of modern wrestling known and recognized by fans who frequently cite him as one of the most complete exponents of world wrestling. Born on March 1, 1972 in Gomez Palacio, Durango, he debuted in his hometown on June 14, 1990 at the age of 18. He used the battle names Condor Dorado and Flanagan, and later adopted the nickname that would take him to the highest heights of the sport of entertainment. Among his great betting victories, he obtained legendary masks such as Villano IV and Mr. Aguila, as well as the hair of Cuchillo and Stuka. He had a great campaign alongside Atlantis in the remembered couple of the Warriors of the Atlantis, obtaining great victories until they separated and began a rivalry that would lead to a duel for honor. The feud led both contenders to bet their very precious masks at the Arena Mexico on September 19, 2014, registering an impressive full house. This fight in particular is remembered for its unpredictable result, since both opponents showed similar resources and status as stars in the company. That night, Ultimo Guerrero used his vast resources to come out ahead in such an important commitment, but these were not enough to stop the idol of the children, who to the joy of his fans won one more mask, enriching his showcase and betting record by revealing in this way the face of the man under the mask of Ultimo Guerrero, Jose Gutierrez Hernandez. Number 1. Villano III. Known by his nickname of the Pink Panther and being indisputably the most legendary member of the Imperial Dynasty, Villano III was and is a true icon of world wrestling. Heir to the great legend of El Jefe de dos Chuecos, Rey Mendoza began his training at a very young age, debuting behind his father's back and without using his last name. Using various battle names, such as Rey Rosas, Pulpo Blanco, Rocambole, Mancha Roja, and Buffalo Salvaje. Once established and active with the name of Villano III, he joined his brothers, forming the fearsome trio of Los Villanos. This trio caused a furor in the rings and meant an entire era in national and world wrestling. As a team and also each brother separately, the Pink Panther unmasked great wrestlers such as Bestia Roja, Zebra Kid, La Sombra, Rambo, Super Astro, and Pegasus Kid. He also had an enviable record of haircuts, including those of Perro Aguayo, Pirata Morgan, El Sino, El Texano, and Babyface. After forging an idol status in the ranks of the Independents, Villano III emigrated from Torrio de Cuatro Caminos to the Arena Mexico, and it was in the CMLL where he would find his most bitter rival. The King of Atlantis. Atlantis was at that time the standard-bearer of CMLL, and Villano III set his sights on the mask of this one. A long and fierce rivalry between the two warriors saw its culmination on March 17, 2000, filling the Arena Mexico, and being a success as the first pay-per-view event of the company in its history. This match was awarded as Fight of the Year by the Wrestling Observer newsletter, and the result was the fall of the mask of Villano III, thus revealing the face of Arturo Diaz Mendoza, who would continue to be an idol of the fans, who from that moment on would nickname him King Arthur. This is how we come to the end of this video about masks won by Atlantis. If you liked it, let me know in the comments box. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok for more content, music and designs for your mask or character. But most importantly, my warriors, never forget, lucha, lucha,